10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What is going on, people? What is going on? Welcome one, welcome all. It is the Prem Panel Show. We are back a little earlier. Obviously, we had to rearrange things again this week because Liverpool in the Carabao Cup, and we'll be back on later on. So if you're watching this before that game, make sure you check us out for the watch along for that game, guys, at 7:30. We got a good one this week. We got some happy people. We got some not so happy people this week. But what's going on, George? Lewis, KG, what's going on, boys?
All good today. All good today.
We don't have to talk about football on the stream, do we? We could talk about other sports. The Royal Rumble's on next weekend. Who's everyone's favourites?
Bro, I ain't got a clue who's in wrestling anymore, mate.
I haven't got a clue what we do in the final third either. So we're both clueless. Fuck it.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. KG, my man.
Yes, all good people. Another camera issue, as you know, on this very stream, but I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the Liverpool gremlins that don't like me, but I'm here still in the flesh.
Now, well, we're going to talk about this week's fixtures, and no better place than to start with the game that I'm sure made you a lot happier than you've been for a lot of this season. It was a brilliant game to watch. That was the proper Leeds. That was the Leeds I know, or the Leeds I've grown to know. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, the floor is yours, KG, man. How do you feel about that thrilling win against West Ham?
Yeah, I mean, when you add it all together as well, the amount of players that we had out, the team that we had to piece up, I think everyone saw the bench because there was a lot of people giving us praise for going ahead with the game, whereas other people looked to cancel them. But when you add it all together, a tough fixture as well against West Ham away. Jack Harrison coming into form at the right time. Well, he should be in form all the time, but you know what I mean? Second half, if he can keep that kind of thing up, not saying hat-trick every game, but it would be good to see him do what he was doing at West Ham because he was confident. That's the Jack Harrison I know can play. We've got a couple more bodies coming back this weekend, but just on that game, when they kept pegging us back, I thought, oh my days, here we go again, because that's been the story of the season. We've taken something like 6 leads this year and not won the game. So you do kind of worry, but they hung in there, man, and full credit to them. Full credit to them. They came out, and pretty much everyone on the pitch was a credit to the team.
No, it was brilliant, man. Hat trick. Obviously I don't know the statistic. Is that his first ever Leeds hat trick?
That's his first professional hat trick, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so obviously big day to him as well, man. Yes, it was good, man. It was good. I don't know. You said you never caught the game, George. You didn't see.
No, I was actually playing football myself at the time, so I didn't catch it. But anytime I look at the notifications and see West Ham lose, it's a good day. So thank you, Leeds.
Yeah, we did the top.
Sadly. So yeah. Safe, KG. Appreciate that. We only posted on the weekend.
I did catch the Bowen last minute miss though, which was
Yeah. Do you know what, KG? I want to ask you about that because I kind of defended him a little bit, as in I feel like the deflection from the cross meant he had to readjust, and I feel like there was nothing else he could do. I mean, obviously you're glad he messed up, but like a lot of people are slagging him. Do you think it's harsh, or do you think it was a good effort?
I thought that he maybe was just a little bit too confident with it, because I know what you're talking about with that deflection, but the deflection actually made it slow down a little and make it go more in his path. All he had to do was just nod it in. And I don't know whether he was trying something fancy with his chest or not. I don't know. Doing a chest thing isn't for everyone, like we saw last night in the Brentford Man United game. But I thought, yeah, he should have scored that, because we had a similar goal for our second one, Jack Harrison. He put it in with his thigh. You just have to get something on it and put it in. But Bowen, that's what I mean, though. But we've had those breaks against us this season as well. So it all evens out, doesn't it? And we're happy that he didn't get it. But I just want to make a note of the pass from Rafinha for the third goal. Like, there's very few players that can put that kind of weight on the pass and it goes through, just slice through a defense. And that's what we've got him for, man. That's the quality that he possesses as a match winner for us. So and he's about to sign a new contract. So long may it continue.
Yeah, no, big up, man. And obviously, I don't want to be reactionary with this question, but do you feel maybe the tide has turned a little bit? I know the teams below you seem to keep dropping points as well, which is good for you guys. Is this a turning point? Do you think Leeds can get their season back on track now?
I think it will be that. I think it will be a bit better than the first half of the season, because we're now in that cluster of teams now with Brentford, Villa, Palace, Southampton. We're in that 20 points section of the Premier League now. So I think it's just going to be a bit of back and forth in that mid-table clash from here on out. We're not going to get sucked into a relegation battle again, because the teams below us are just that poor. And we saw it on the weekend with Everton losing to Norwich. And you saw Newcastle couldn't get the job done at home against Watford. That's pretty much what goes on down there. And all it is with us is just making sure our quality that we do have in players like Rafinha, Harrison comes out, and we'll be more than fine.
Yeah, I mean, guys, do you agree? Do you think Leeds are completely fine now? It's just about regrouping, going again in the summer, and then getting themselves back for next season?
Yeah, I was never really worried about Leeds. I just thought it was a case of when. I never really thought they would go down. I know, in spite of the poor form and everything at the start of the season, they were eventually going to be able to fix things up. And it's come a bit late for them, but they're still in a position where they could get back to the position they were in at the end of last season, which I think was a 10th place finish. And if they can 9th place, well, if you guys can recoup yourselves back into that sort of position, I think you'll still look at it as a positive season. It's all just about, you guys want to develop, but it hasn't been to the upward trajectory that you've wanted this season. You guys wanted to build up even further and potentially contend for the European spots. So it's more like a step sideways for you guys, but you'd rather that than a step backwards.
Yeah, 100, bro.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah, I think it's looking like an absolute bottom four at the moment with like Watford, Burnley, Norwich, Newcastle. I think if not, obviously Newcastle can spend. Well, hopefully they spend enough money to maybe get out of there, but I think those four kind of just seem to be just away from everyone else. Like Everton's just above them, but there's no way, especially after the second hour, I can't see Everton getting relegated or falling into that either. So I think it's just hopefully getting a bit of consistency with Leeds now, and just like KG said, just getting back into those sort of battles for, what was it, like mid to 3/4 away down the table.
Yeah, and it's just like with Newcastle as well. We're talking about their spending, but yeah, again, they're going to be coming to a game against us this weekend, a game that they would be looking to win like they were last week, and they haven't made any new signings, so it's just Trippier, Chris Wood, but they've still got Lascelles, Kieran Clark, Longstaff. They've still got all these regular players, so they're still pretty much in the same position as they were at the start of the month.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll get onto that one afterwards as well. So we'll come back to the Leeds Newcastle situation. Now to the happiest guy in the room today. I'm not gonna lie, those type of epic comebacks, you almost wish there was more at stake for it to be more euphoric, innit? Like, obviously it was only the 3 points, but regardless, the end to that game was mad. And the thing is, because I watched the majority of the game, I did flick a bit between the Brentford and Man United game, but the majority of the time I watched the Leicester Tottenham. And the thing is, if you look at that game and all you watched was the end, you'd think maybe it was just lucky from Tottenham at the end. But I've got to be honest, you lot had a lot of chances during the game that was cleared off the line, hitting the post.
Yeah, like, we battered.
You know what I mean? Like, Tottenham weren't just rubbish and then just got a jammy bit at the end. Like, Tottenham are pretty good. To put a little bit of context to it, though, Leicester are depleted. Like, they do have like, how have they not been able to get a game called off and Arsenal did? You want to talk about injuries and AFCON, do you know what I mean? But I'm not even going to go back into that Arsenal. But yeah, the floor is yours, boy. How you feeling? Let us know, man. How did you take the game? You was at the game as well, right?
Yeah, I was at the game. I still can't believe some fans left at like the 88th minute or whatever. Like, I don't understand anyone that ever leaves a game early unless you're like 4 or 5-0 down, completely out, and it's like the last.
I was going to say last trains, but you all stayed for half an hour after the match, so that clearly didn't even matter.
Oh, I mean, I drove our family up there, so we just took our sweet time. We were buzzing. But no, I think like that is kind of only really comparable in recent times to this sort of semi-final. Of course, it's never going to match the Champions League semi-final because that was just such a, like you said, like a higher stake such a bigger moment, whereas it's only really 3 points. But at the end of the day, those 3 points can potentially define our season and flip things around now, especially with obviously Chelsea coming up at the weekend. Did not see it happening. Like the fan base emotion was just up and down for the whole game. Like there was chants for Levy and Enoch out when we were losing. The celebrations when Kane equalised and obviously going 2-1 down again. It was just all started to feel like same old Spurs when it got to like the 94th minute. But yeah, I don't know how Bergwijn done it, but that was I was worried I wouldn't be able to come on today with my voice, but we're good. We're sweet.
Talk to me about Bergwijn, because we've given him a little bit of stick on here. Credit to him. Matt kind of did lose a little bit of faith in him, but Matt's always said he thinks Bergwijn is a great option off the bench, and he's not sure why Tottenham are looking to get rid of him. And we, as I said, we've given him a bit of stick on it, so he's got to get his flowers after coming on and making such an impact, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. I don't want us to sell him, to be honest with you. I never said he was like amazing or anything. He hasn't been like amazing so far. The first 3 games of the season, he was one of our better players and actually started to look really, really good for us against like City, Wolves, Watford. But he got injured on his way to Netherlands when it was the international break. And kind of since then, obviously he was injured for sort of the rest of Nuno's time. Then he kind of got fit again as soon as Conte came in. So obviously it's quite hard for him to get back into the team. But Conte said himself, like he's got characteristics. He's turned him into a striker, which is interesting. He said he sees him as a striker or a number 10. So, and that kind of showed yesterday, which was a bit mad. Ajax put 2 bids in for 15 million euros or something like that. We've just turned it down because there's nowhere near enough, and I can't see us selling him now. I think Conte will want to keep him. I don't see why we would sell him because he's probably one of, like you said, our better bench players anyway, and probably deserves a start against Chelsea. So. Yeah, I like him. I think that there's a player there, but we just haven't seen it consistently enough at any point at Spurs. So who knows? If it turns around, fantastic. If not, we could probably sell him for a bit more in the summer, maybe if you want to change things up.
Yeah, I think what I like about Bergwijn is that he's similar but not similar, and by that I mean with you having Moura and Son, when he plays, if one of those two can't play, he's got attributes that mean he can kind of do what they do if he's asked to. Do you know what I mean? He's got pace, he's got strength, he's got a good shot on him. He's probably got a better shot than Moura, to be honest. So even in that regard, he can maybe add something Moura can't. I feel like he's a very good. Let me give you like Liverpool and Chelsea as an example, obviously, because we're on the panel. I feel like we don't have that kind of player who can come in and be different. So it's not that we don't have good front players, but you look at your Ziyech's and your Pulisic's and they're very similar. So if you're trying to change it, there's not really anybody.
They're both trash.
You know what I mean? There's not really anybody who can bring on us a bit different or can change things. With Liverpool, we don't really have like Minamino. There's nobody really that we can bring in that's like similar to do that good job or can change it. But Bergwijn can do the similar role or he can change it. And he's done it on many occasions now to prove he's a valuable asset. It'll be stupid if you let him go.
You know what? I think he's like the pure definition of like confidence player. Because if you'd see him at PSV, he would take man on like crazy and like set up these amazing goals or even score himself when he was like attacking players on the wing. And I compare him to like Sessegnon a lot because he was like that with Fulham. As soon as they've come to Spurs, both of them haven't done that. They've looked very I don't know what the word is, timid kind of when they're playing. They don't have that sort of eye to attack. Whereas Bergwijn recently this season has started to do that more often. So I think that's why he's starting to sort of, you know, get his rhythm and get to his best. So yeah, I don't want to see him go. He's definitely worth a start now anyway until we get more signings, and then I think he could be a great squad player. He's only 23 years old as well. Like I don't think we need to rush him out of the club or anything like that. Yeah, we're not exactly getting it's not like someone's coming in with a 50 million offer where you think, oh, we can't turn that down. Like 15 is what Ajax are offering. It's like nowhere near good enough. And we spent 25 on him anyway. So yeah, I don't see the point in it.
Do you wanna have a touch on this? Because I'm not even gonna lie. I thought Kane even looked like he had more pace than I even thought he had yesterday, which was even more crazy.
Kane was goal too.
Yeah, Kane had his best game of the season yesterday by a mile. And even then, he still missed some easy chances that you like. What was it? He ended up being almost 1-on-1 with Schmeichel, and he like banged it over the bar, which is just Kane has never missed those opportunities before. So even though he had his best game, there were still moments where you think he's not even back to his best yet, which is the maddest thing. But the thing that gets me is like the passion at the end as well with that winner kind of is giving me that little glimpse of hope, which is probably going to kill me later on. But that little glimpse of hope that, you know what, he's actually caring about Spurs again. And I think Conte's done a massive job at saying, look, this project, it's about you, it's about the team. We're gonna do big things. And yeah, man, there's just when we're winning, there's a feel good factor around the club, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Lewis, I know you wouldn't have been happy with what you saw, but KG, Lewis, anything you lot want to say about the game, or did you guys both see the game?
I was watching Brentford Man United a bit more actually, so I missed all the drama.
Yeah, I was out for my mate's birthday, but I made the stupid decision of watching the last 10 minutes. So Lewis right again. Can't be asked.
You literally came for the bit you wouldn't want to see.
Literally, and I saw Bergwijn score and then score again. I was like, how? Like, you know when you got one of those faces where you're just shocked. How the fuck have they pulled it back with 2 goals in 12 seconds?
Lewis,
like we're talking behind cameras. Like this is beyond Spursy. And there has to be a question about Leicester City too, because they're perennial bottle jobs. Bottled top 4 numerous times. Bottled this game. Brendan Rodgers has a huge bottle job mentality on his head anyway. And we're seeing it now. This Leicester City team's been horrendous this season. Utterly horrendous. And this is just the icing on the cake.
One thing,
like me personally, I think the manager's the problem.
One thing I will say though is it was interesting seeing, because somebody made the comparison today, and it's quite interesting, isn't it, that when Arsenal got that last-minute equaliser against Palace, they celebrated like it was nothing, like it was everything. But Spurs, they got to 2-2, and everyone just got the ball straight back and said, let's go for the winner. I think that shows you the difference in mentality, and that comes from your coaches.
And that was with 8 seconds left of the game, in theory.
Yeah.
Like, they decided to do that, which is mad.
But also, horrific pass from Tielemans straight from kickoff.
It was, yeah. Tielemans, for me, I do like Tielemans, but he's a front runner kind of player. I've said it before on other streams. When the going gets good, he looks amazing. But when things are a little bit iffy, he like kind of like drifts in with the rest of the mediocrity. Because over the last couple of weeks, he's been having a few disaster classes. I saw one clip of him when he was running back against somebody, and he looked like he was running through mud. Like he looked like he was actually running through treacle. It looked ridiculous because he's not very athletic anyway, is he? But passing up the ball and a long range shot every here and there, every so often he's good. But now for me, he's more of a front runner kind of player. Like when going gets good, you want him in your team.
Yeah, do you know what, KG? Do you think that's the reason why a lot of people are umming and ahhing about him?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, scouts and everyone else, they see things that we don't, obviously. But that is something that is so blatant with him. You see all the time when Leicester are buzzing and rolling, he's in the thick of it. He's central to everything. But when they're in a bit of a sticky situation, and he's had a few of those instances this season where a misplaced pass has led to an opposition attack and a goal. It's happened a few times this season. So I don't know whether he's got it on his mind about where he's going to be next. I don't know if the out of contract thing's weighing on his mind, but it's making him look a little bit average these days.
I think that was what people were saying about him at Monaco, weren't they? I know he was a lot younger, but they were just saying he was too inconsistent, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, like I said, I do want to throw a little bit of context in there to not be unfair to Leicester. They do have a depleted squad, and I know what that feels like. You know what I mean? And AFCON took their best. Some of it, Iniacho and Didi. Like, without, though, they're not the type of players Leicester can go without. Do you know what I mean? So there has to be a little bit of context put towards it. But no, it was a brilliant game.
Just quickly as well, just shout out to James Justin coming back as well. Good to see him back on the pitch, man, because he was sensational last season until he got hurt.
I loved him last year. I thought he was going to get an England team.
Definitely one to watch as well for the future. He's a good kid, man. This one kind of leads me in a little bit into moving on to no, Lewis is like, no, allow it.
We have to talk about Chelsea.
Now, here's the thing, bro, yeah? Now, the AKA says, if Chelsea don't win anything, will Tuchel be sacked? So, while answering that at the same time, bro, is Tuchel to blame, or is there more to this? Talk to me, bro, because to draw with Brighton after like the bad result with City, like you would have really thought that would have been a good game for Chelsea to like get back on track and be like, all right, like talk to me, bro. What's going on at Chelsea, man?
We've already spoken about the injury issues with Chelsea, and like we haven't really been the same since Ben Chilwell got injured and half of our midfield too. But I don't know. Like they're talking about fatigue, and I don't really think fatigue is. If it's an excuse, it's not a big excuse because we have a 37-year-old Thiago Silva who plays with more energy than the rest of this squad, and he played both games, the full 90. So personally, don't want to hear it. If he can do it, everybody else can do it in my eyes. The midfield has looked pathetic the last two games. Swiss cheese midfield just gets bypassed for fun. Switched it, Kante, Kovacic, poor against City. Jorginho, Kovacic, poor against Brighton. And we were poor against Brighton the last time we played them in December. Our attack, personally, I've just given up on it. I think our fan base loves doing this thing of comparing all of our attackers to each other. And I'm like, why? They're all shit. All of them. They're all shit. Like, be real about it. You want Hudson-Odoi to drive at defenders, but when he does, he gets that deer in the headlights look about him, and all he ever does is cut inside. Doesn't know what he's doing when he's cutting outside. Pulisic has no impact and hasn't had impact consistently since Project Restart. Ziyech is a moments player. Turns up for like one chance a game. Maybe he gets a goal, maybe he gets an assist, but I didn't even celebrate his goal that deep against Brighton because he was horrific before the goal and horrific afterwards. Same as always. Kai Havertz, again, needs a bit more presence, but he's actually been one of the better players out of the group, which is saying a lot in my opinion because he hasn't been great this season either. Who else? Timo Werner? Just Werner. Bring him on for the last 10 minutes because you want Lukaku off. And then you got 10 minutes of Werner and you just think, well, why the fuck did we bring him on? All he ever does is run to the byline and put a shit low cross into the box for no one to get on the end of. And that's it. Don't even utilize his pace properly. And then you got Lukaku. Rebound. Yeah. And I don't understand either. We'll sit there and slander the likes of Jorginho and Christensen for the odd mistake, but Timo Werner can shoot at shed upper for 90 minutes. And all we're going to do is chant his name after every miss. I don't get it. And then you got Lukaku, who just has fallen off a cliff since the interviews come out. Yes, I think he is a player that has to play on confidence, but he's done it all to himself. He's put all the pressure on himself now, and he's not reacting well to it. So he's meant to be brilliant when it comes to playing under pressure and everything. The ball just rebounds off him for 90 minutes. I get that we still play him as a target man, which he isn't, but he needs to adapt and he needs to get better because he's getting bullied around way too easily. Well, I wouldn't even say bullied around, but he's getting silenced easily. He can still hold up the ball well. We can't fucking do anything else with it. I give him the idea that he makes runs in behind and our midfield doesn't find him, which is still another big issue. But the fact is, when he has the ball, he doesn't do enough with it. We play slightly better when Lukaku's off the pitch, but then we don't have a clinical finisher. But then Lukaku had two clear-cut chances against Manchester City, and he fumbled both of them. The Spurs' first leg, he was running through on goal 48 seconds into the game, and then he went for a stupid pass. The same thing against Manchester City 8 minutes in. Decision-making is atrocious from him, and it's atrocious from everyone in the final third. Midfield's horrific. We have fallen off a cliff since Reece James and Ben Chilwell got injured because, respectfully to Azpilicueta, he's starting to go a bit over the hill. And I can allow him for that because of his consistency over the last few years, and you can't blame him for that. Alonso's also over the hill, but we've known he's been over the hill since 2018, and we haven't got rid of him, and I don't rate him anyway. Tariq Lamptey licks his lips every single time he plays Marcos Alonso. Danced around him for fun. The guy beat him to headers, and I think Tariq Lamptey's like 5'4", and Alonso's like 6'3". Like, this team is not serious, man. Like Tuchel, the only thing I'll blame him for is that I didn't like the lineup against City. I thought the front three was completely wrong, and I didn't like the front three against Brighton. I don't know how Hakim Ziyech and Lukaku kept their spots for both games, and I think the subs were late. That's all I will blame Tuchel for. He's not to blame for the players playing like trash. He's not to blame for the fact that he wanted a midfielder and a right wing back in, and instead we thought, let's not send Cho out on loan to Dortmund for a season because he's the only player in the Cobham graduates that hasn't gone out on loan. Let's keep him here because we need right wing back depth. Or we need a midfielder. Let's bring in Saul on loan and keep Ross Barkley because Ross Barkley is defo the answer to our problems in 2022. Yeah, that's what works for us. Our problem's the board. Like I say our board makes transfers like it's FIFA career mode. Like it's not to say that they don't invest, because they do. It's just it's not smart investment. And it's also because we're not really a long-term club, even though we want to be, but we never seem to have the patience for it. And I still don't think Tuchel gets sacked regardless. But the problem is we have players like Ziyech that suit possession-based systems, and then we play him next to someone like Werner and Lukaku who suit running in behind. Or we have Kai Havertz, who's a centre forward we can't play in the middle because now we have Lukaku in the team, which stifles him. Or then we have a player like Hudson-Odoi who's been screaming out that he needs to go out on loan, but we don't do it because we need him to fucking run some shifts at right wing back. It doesn't make sense. Like, we put band-aids over all our problems and we asked Thomas Tuchel to fix it all. And he ain't a miracle worker. Biggest miracle he did was take this team to a Champions League, and it's all gone to their heads. Absolutely bottled it over the last month. It's been embarrassing.
Boy, I can tell you. I've
been going round in circles about this for the last week.
All right, so let me get a non-biased opinion then. KG, is it the players or is it the manager at Chelsea? How you feel about it?
I think I don't think there's anything wrong with Tuchel. The only thing I would say is that Lewis can probably speak to it better, but you do see when Lukaku's playing up top, he's actually telling people when to play the ball, but these guys just keep playing it around the midfield and then back again. And it happens a lot. It's not like it happens once, twice a game. It happens multiple times. So if on him, he's got to coach them and say, just get the ball forward and let Lukaku try and do his thing. On the other note, maybe they need to just replace a couple of those players with more Tuchel signings, because if Tuchel has only signed one, and that's Lukaku so far. I don't think that some of these have worked out very well. I think the Pulisic thing may have run its course as well. I think he'll probably be gone in the summer. I don't think the Premier League's for him.
I think that was, to be honest, I think that was just to grow the US fan base of Chelsea. I think that was quite
it's questionable. Yeah. And you can see as well, I mean, it's just like with any team, you take out their two main, attacking threats, which were Chilwell and James. They look different, but you would have thought with the depth that Chelsea had, that they would be coping a little bit better. I know I definitely did. I definitely thought they'd be coping better than this. And I wouldn't sack Tuchel. If I was Chelsea, I would stick with Tuchel and see about getting some of these players out. Because
I'll sell half the team before I sell Tuchel personally.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen
downgrade whoever you bring in after him.
Yeah, you've seen with Chelsea before as well. When they decide to down tools at that club, they down tools. I mean, look what happened. Look what they did to Mourinho that year.
But that's the problem. These players know they can outlast the manager if results go poorly. All of them. That's why Lukaku's starting to down tools. Ziyech looks like he's starting to down tools. Apparently, there's a few other players that aren't happy. And if they aren't happy, piss off. We'll find better players. I don't give a shit. None of these attackers are good enough to justify a spot. I've said, Chelsea fans are all questioning whether to bring Eden Hazard back. I've sit there and say, not one of these attackers can sit there, look at a fan dead in the eyes and say that they deserve their spot over Eden Hazard right now. None of them do. Because right now, he still has more creativity in his right foot than anyone in this team. So none of them can say to me they justify a spot.
I mean, listen, well, and I mentioned about Kai Havertz because I'm a Kai Havertz guy. Like when I see him play for Germany, this isn't the same Kai Havertz I see for Chelsea. You just see a completely different guy, and he hasn't translated that into his game over the Premier. And that's something else I got wrong. I thought he'd be doing a lot better this season, and it just hasn't.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
With Kai Havertz, I know we always start seasons poorly, but he also needs to snap out of that too. But another issue with that is that we haven't played him in the middle enough this season. And you usually get the best out of him from playing him in the middle, but we've had to accommodate Lukaku. For me, if you ask me right now, I keep Cho, Mount, and Havertz because they're our three youngest, so I don't mind them not being at the level right now. They will get better. Cho has to go out on loan in the summer because he was meant to go out on loan to Dortmund and he'd come back a much better player with that 1 year of experience. The rest, whatever the fee, just get rid. I don't care. Lukaku can pattern up with the right system, but he's also milking into Milan every 2 minutes, so I can't be asked. Just find somebody else.
Milan won't even buy them. What, Inter won't even buy them back, will they?
They don't even want him back. He's a
Exactly.
fucking stupid guy, man.
All right,
So dumb.
talking about Lukaku then, yeah. Talking about Lukaku, and big up Vex Blaze as well for becoming a member as well. Big up yourself, bro, as always. Talking about Lukaku, I've got two questions. George, I'm going to give you them, and I'm sure Lewis is going to want to say anything, but I'm going to give these two questions to you. So the first one is Lukaku better than Tammy Abraham? And I'm not bantering, I'm being serious. Is he better than Tammy Abraham? And the second question is it fair for Chelsea fans to say Tuchel should be given time because he's only made one signing? When even though that is 100% true, Chelsea have made so many investments. Surely the manager knew he had to more get the better of the players that were there than worry about how many more people he can bring in. That summer when they bought the Werners, the Ziyech, he obviously he's got to know these are big money. You're not going to be able to go, I don't want Havertz anymore. It costs 80 mil. So surely he knew coming in, he's got to deal with all of the players rather than worry about buying. So I'll put those two questions to you, and then I'm sure obviously Lewis is going to want to answer some as well.
That first one is mean. How the hell am I supposed to answer Lukaku attack? I mean,
Tammy's doing what Lukaku did in Italy for a lesser team. So,
what I would always say is I think I absolutely do not understand why Tammy was sold from Chelsea when he was their top goal scorer. If you forget Jorginho's fact that he's got 27 penalties. But then how is Lukaku ever going to justify the 100 million after what happened at Man United? And then obviously, okay, he's done well in the Serie A, but like you said, so has Tammy Abraham smashing it at Roma. You can't say that right now that Lukaku is leagues ahead of Tammy. I think Tammy probably is better than Lukaku, especially right now. And it's not looking like the best deals in the summer. But yeah, and then I think you're right. I feel like it's a bit. I don't know if Chelsea's just a little bit spoilt with the amount of players they have, because I'll tell you what, I'd love to have that sort of squad and that depth. And I think there might have to be some sort of man management coming into account there. I don't know if all these players just think they're way too big for their boots, being at Chelsea, earning X amount, won the Champions League, like Lewis said, this, that, and
if
the other.
If their boots were too big for them, it would justify their poor finishing, in my opinion. Because I haven't got an excuse for it.
I'm not being funny. With that sort of squad and the depth, there shouldn't be any excuse for the lack of form in the last year. Last month, sorry. There's no excuse. Let's be real. So I think some of that has to be onto the manager. But come on, the players also have to get their heads out of their ass, because they are better than what they're playing at right now. Miles better than what they're playing at.
I mean, Lewis, you've done it.
This Tammy Lukaku thing is funny to me because. The reason why we sold Tammy was because, number one, he needed more game time that I don't think Chelsea was going to be able to give him. Number two, it was wages. Because we had Hudson-Odoi on 120k a week when Bayern wanted him, he was saying that his performances justified a higher pay, which fair enough, it did, but it's a bit of a sticky situation for us because we were kind of forced into giving Hudson-Odoi those wages, and it's messed up our wage structure a little bit, which is understandable on both sides, but that's why neither of them is going to be in agreement at all. So he left kind of for more money and also for more game time. Now, when it comes to when they're playing, both are very similar, where it's you have to feed them chances in order for them to be able to get the best out of them, for them to be able to score. They're not going to make their own chances. You have to be able to feed it to them. And like I said, our creativity has been wank since Hazard left. And even when Hazard was here, it was only Eden Hazard, and that was it. No one else was contributing like he did. So we don't make clear-cut chances like that. Also, Tammy Abraham, for being 6'5", the worst header of a ball I've ever seen in a Chelsea shirt. So, but that will develop with time too. So I don't really hold that too much against him. But seeing Lukaku ball out in Serie A and come here and struggle and turn into United Lukaku, while Tammy struggled here, is going to Serie A and is now balling out. I think we talk about Bundesliga attacks all the time. I need to have a look at Serie A too, because they're on sus watch for me. So I think it's a little bit of both. But they might be on the same level, which is just embarrassing. We just spent 100 mil for a bigger Tammy Abraham with a worse first touch. But here we are.
Tammy But Tammy's kind of silky with it though. I gotta be honest, he's got good
Nah,
feet.
Tammy's first touch used to be atrocious with us. I remember him last season. Like, there was a reason why he was our second choice striker over Timo. Like, his overall play needed serious work. It's just, you could see it out of him in about 3-4 years. I always said with Tammy Abraham, he's a late bloomer. Screams it. You'll start seeing him fill out his body around the age of 25, 26. The same time, Didier Drogba did. Because he started slowly in France too, and then he developed his game. He got a lot stronger, a lot more physical, and you started seeing the best out of him. So you have to play a waiting game with Tammy, but we aren't a waiting club. So I get why he left. We still got a buyback, a first refusal and a buyback clause on him for the next 2 years. Maybe we reactivate it, maybe we don't. If the answer after 2 years is literally bring Tammy Abraham back, then we are just going round in circles. But here we are in it. What was the other question?
Is it fair that a lot of people are saying Tuchel should be allowed to buy more players when, to be fair, your squad is really expensive and you just bought a load of expensive players?
No, I definitely think it is, because Tuchel is a flexible manager. Very flexible at PSG, very flexible at Dortmund. He can't be flexible here because of the personnel in our squad and because this isn't his team. He made the best out of the team that he had, and he created a system that was very hard to break down, and it was so good, it took us to a Champions League trophy. All the credit to Thomas Tuchel in the world for it, but he cannot be flexible with this team. He struggles to be with it because the formation gets the best out of some of the players around us. He gets the best out of Jorginho, and it perseveres Thiago Silva for as long as possible. So I get why we keep this formation, but we can't be flexible with it as a result. This is not his team. He needs a transfer window to be able to bring in the players that he wants to bring in. So if one formation doesn't work, you can switch to another formation. That's what he did at PSG. When one formation flopped, he switched to another one, even mid-game. But you don't see that with us. You rarely see that with us because of the personnel in our squad. And that's what the problem is for me. You need a massive clear out of this team. I get it. It's a stacked team. You shouldn't be complaining about it. But the fact is, if Jorginho's not in our midfield, we struggle. The fact is, our front three, regardless, struggles. Whoever you put in there, they're just dog shit, and it never works. We are only saved by a solid defense, a great manager, and a great goalkeeper. That's it. Our attack plays against us every game. Our midfield, it all depends on the team that we play, because the attack puts more pressure on the midfield. If it's a very strong team, they can batter us. Which is why the depth was a false image, and us being title contenders was a false image. But better late than never, I guess. But we need a massive clear out. This is not on Thomas Tuchel. He's making the best out of what he has.
No, I'm not gonna lie.
50, just quickly, I like Bunker's suggestion of Kante, Gallagher, and Mount in midfield. That sounds very, very good, by the way.
Oh, hell no. No, sorry, KG. But, that team gets ripped apart in the transition by a semi-decent side. Everyone says Kante's a DM, and I don't understand it.
He's not DM. He's box to box.
Yeah, this is the thing. He's a box to box, but like, if you're doing that, who's the DM in there?
But could Kante not do it if us?
No. I think you only get that out of him when it's a team that parks the bus. Like, I saw Lampard do it in a 4-3-3 before he got sacked. And because I've had this debate with fans for years about Kante being a DM, because when Sarri was here, everyone did Sarri's playing Kante out of formation. I was like, shut up, man. Ranieri played him as a box-to-box. In France, he was a box-to-box. And at Chelsea, he was a box-to-box. But now, because Sarri comes in and we play a more attacking style of play, and most of our plays in the attacking third or in the opposition box, they think he's out of position because he's not breaking up play. No, we dominate possession more under Sarri, so he has less break up play to do. It's as simple as that. But as a DM, it only works when you have teams that sit deep, because then they don't press him. So all he has to do is just sweep up every now and then. You play him as a lone DM against Manchester City, against Liverpool, against Arsenal, they will rip him to shreds, because he's a driver. He likes to break up play. He doesn't like to sit behind the defense. He likes to roam the midfield. So if the other team's in possession, he's out of position, which is why we get ripped apart in transition with Kante and DM. So it just doesn't work for me.
But you know what? You're the best person to tell us, because he's been at your club for the last couple of years. So to be fair, that's actually I'm gonna like have to take your word for it.
I've beefed Chelsea fans on this one for years.
Yeah, no, but what you're saying makes perfect sense. It actually makes a lot of sense. So I fully get you. Just before I go on to the next topic, bit of housekeeping. First of all, guys, make sure you smash the like button. As always, it helps the channel and the video. Make sure you go in the description. Everybody's channel links and personal links are in there. Make sure you go follow everyone, subscribe. Make sure you get that done as well, people. And I've just got a super chat here before I get on to the next topic. Big up yourself, Jamrock, as always, bro. Lukaku, Grealish, and Sancho cost a combined 271 mil. Sterling's got 8 goals and 3 assists. Dennis at Watford cost 3 million. Sterling and
has 8 goals and 5 assists.
I'm not sure who HA is, bro. Unless you mean and Dennis.
I think he said it has. Just didn't have the.
Okay,
yeah, it has
8 goals and 5 assists. Why isn't this a bigger story? I'm not actually sure what you mean, bro, in terms of that those guys haven't been able to keep up with Sterling and Dennis, or
no. When he's saying Sterling, he means pounds.
Like
okay, I hear. Oh yeah, sorry, obviously because you're in America. Sorry, yeah, I completely forgot. Dennis is getting his flowers, guys, ain't he? I think people are.
No, I think it's more the fact that Lukaku, Grealish, and Sancho are flops this season so far. It's kind of
he's saying that Dennis has more goals and assists than all 3 of those players combined.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
All right, so basically, why is people not talking? I mean, the Grealish one, I don't think Grealish was brought in to be that way, and I think that's why he might be able to get away with it a little bit more. Lukaku, 100%. I think he is getting grilled though, right? Like people are realizing Lukaku is definitely.
He's getting grilled by his own fans now. Ever since that interview, no Chelsea fans standing up for him. It's like everybody versus Lukaku right now.
Yeah, and but the one I will agree with, and I don't know if there's any Sancho fans in it. There's going to be a point where we have to talk about Sancho because he really is getting away with it, in my opinion. He really
is, but like I expected him to be poor this season. Bundesliga tax is real. It is really real. And I expected him to start the season poorly. If he's the same player next season, then yeah, discussions are going to have to roll out about Sancho. But every time someone comes from the Bundesliga, I always give him a year because Bundesliga is such a false league for me when it comes to forwards. There's so much open space. You got the likes of Michy Batshuayi going there and bagging a goal a game. And he comes here, he's one of the worst strikers I've ever seen in a Chelsea shirt. Paco Alcacer goes there, bags a goal a game. Andre Silva goes there and balls out, but they can't do it in other leagues. Bundesliga is just too open for me. Like, I'll rate any defender that goes there because it's such an open league. If you can ball out in the Bundesliga, fair enough, then you can definitely do it in the Premier League. But translating forwards from the Premier League to the Bundesliga, I think only Firmino and Aubameyang have been the ones that have been able to immediately translate their form. Son as well, maybe, but everyone else hasn't.
It took Son a year. He was going to leave 1 year after joining Spurs because he had a very poor first season.
When you make that transition, you suffer. So Sancho, like, it's funny cussing him out because United despise the club. Everyone does. But I understand with Sancho, there's going to be a period where he ends up turning it around, and then we're going to see the real Sancho.
I think it's just it's more to do with the price tag. It's kind of making it seem a lot worse. Whereas I do agree with Lewis. I do think give him a year or two, like bear in mind how young this guy is. I do think he will become a good footballer. It's just, you're right. It's just kind of funny seeing how it pans out for United.
I mean, speaking of taxes, the Dutch league is a league that you do get a lot of players that look brilliant come here. Ziyech, to answer Zabiri's question, Lewis, is he it or not? Like, how you feel about Ziyech?
Oh, Ziyech, I've been done with Ziyech for months personally. People got gassed in November because he went through a period with, like, I think 4 goals and assists in 4 games. I was like, cool. Bruno does that too. Bruno's also shit for 90 minutes and then pops up with a goal and assist out of nowhere. I don't want those sorts of players. I want players that can be consistent for 90 minutes, not players that give the ball away with hope balls and just shit passes for 90 minutes, but maybe 1 or 2 of them work out and he bags a goal and assist off the end of it. No, he's a moments player. He doesn't turn up consistently for a full 90 minutes for us, and he never has done. He's not good enough for us. He doesn't fit the system. Maybe in another team you see the best out of Hakim Ziyech. But at Chelsea, no, this guy is not it. He's another one of those on the list to just get rid in the summer whatever the price tag is. He's not good enough.
I think we should have signed him, and I think he would have worked out great after the Champions League semi-final. I think he would have fit.
Tell Conte cool, because like I just want him gone.
But I do. My favorite tweet this week has to be the Chelsea paid 40 million for this NFT, and it was a gif of that switch that Ziyech did for Ajax in the Champions League.
I've never seen him do that at Chelsea either. You know, we didn't even get that.
It doesn't play like that. I just don't think he suits Chelsea at all, to be honest.
Yeah, he's a baller, isn't it? He's the type of guy who needs to be in a team that plays fluid, proper, like.
I think he could be.
He was a Lampard player.
Salah KDB situation where they flop at Chelsea, but could be quality somewhere else.
No, I agree. Like, he's not a dead player or anything. It's just for us, he does not fit us at all, and it clearly shows the style of play. He came in for Frank Lampard. Lampard wanted him. He fit his style of play because he played a lot more wider, and you got the best out of him there. Like, Ziyech under Lampard, I think in a completely different level to Ziyech under Tuchel. And that's not a slight on Tuchel. It's just this formation doesn't get the best out of him. He plays too centrally. So I'm just done with it.
That kind of reminds me of Lucas a little bit, in the same sense that for us, like what made the difference yesterday when Bergwijn came on was that Lucas actually played out wide, like actually as a winger, because we changed to 4 at the back as well. And he was so much better. And I think Ziyech is like that. At the moment in your system, he's playing as almost like an inside forward, which is what sort of Lucas was doing, or kind of playing like a striker. And I don't think it benefits either of them. I think they're both the sort of players that really do need to be out wide, sort of taking players on and doing the creativity that way.
Yep, in the middle, I just don't think all round he's good enough for me. I think, like, because he has to stick on his left foot too much. And I also think his decision making is just poor. He's one of those players who needs to be in space to be able to think about his decision. His passing when he is in space is very good. Like, I can give him credit where credit's due. It's just his consistency is not there. Like, the best game I've seen from him this season was a 10-minute cameo against Leicester, and we were already 3-0 up. So I was like, I haven't seen anything from you. I didn't see anything from you last season except a few good key goals against Manchester City and against Atletico Madrid, which fair enough for, because they did their part in us getting to the FA Cup final and winning the Champions League. But I haven't seen any consistency from him under Thomas Tuchel. So for me, it's just another one where it's like, wash your hands, sell him, thanks for the memories, but dip.
Well, speaking of you lot getting rid of people, I don't know if you guys have seen the last topic before we get onto the predictions for the weekend is from 2024, Premier League teams will only be allowed to have 6 players out on loan. Now, I don't really think...
I think that's only over 21s, though. Not academy players, which saves us a little bit. Yeah, because we were talking about on my previous stream. So, under 21s from the academy, there's no limit on. It's over 21s and I think players who aren't from the academy where there's a limit on how many you can loan, which is fine because half the players that we loan out every single year who are over the age of 21 is deadwood that we can't sell. Your Bakayokos, your Batshuayi, Zappa Costas, players that have been screaming at this club to get rid of for years because they're utterly atrocious. They're on 100k a week. They're fucking up our wage structure and the problem why we can't re-sign any players. Maybe it pulls our finger out of our ass and then we stop thinking, right, Batshuayi will never play a game for this football club again, but we're still going to try and make Leeds pay 15 million for him. Like, what? Like,
you had 32 players out on loan the season before last, right?
Yeah. Like, we basically send a full 11 out on loan, a full team out on loan.
32 players.
It's because we can make money out of the loan fees that we sell them out for, which is fair enough. But there are players like Mishi on 100k a week, and we're just loaning them out.
I don't even know who that is.
What? Mishi Batshuayi, I don't blame you.
Mishi Batshuayi. Oh, okay, yeah. So I thought that we were saying.
I'd want to forget about him too. Don't worry. But he's now he's on Besiktas's bench. Besiktas's bench, and Leeds wanted them in the summer for 10 million. Do you know that's the most obvious deal in the world? Just sell him and get rid. But we're like, no, you know what? We want 15 million. Why even add the 5 million? For what? And then Leeds were obviously like, no, because they already have Patrick Bamford. They've already got Rodrigo. They don't need to spend 15 million on another striker, especially one like Batshuayi, who's utter horse shit. And for our last 3 managers in a row have said that he has no understanding of basic tactics. Like, he's struggled with Bielsa. Bielsa ball would kill him. like running around for 90 minutes. This guy couldn't press a light switch, but we want to keep him. How does that make sense? But we're here sitting here trying to still keep him at the club. Bakayoko as well, 100k a week, the worst player I've ever seen in a Chelsea shirt, and we're still keeping him on our books. Zappacosta, only known for like one shit cross against Karabakh that went to the back of the net. We're still keeping him on our books. Just get rid. Clear the wage structure. We wouldn't be bitching and moaning about Christensen or Rudiger's contract extensions if they were gone, because we'd have the money to sell them. No, we'd have the money to re-sign their contracts. But here we are, because Ross Barkley's on 100k a week, because Drinkwater's on 120k a week, Batshuayi's on 100k a week. They're all on these stupid wages. We're now thinking we need to preserve our wage structure. No, you got Marcus Alonso on 150k a week that you gave him a contract extension for, and you're wondering why Rudiger and Christensen do not want wages that are underneath that. Marcus Alonso's been dusted for years. Absolutely washed. Only turns up for the odd game against Tottenham because they boo him every game. And that's it. Living off a double that he scored at Wembley a few years ago. And that's enough to keep him in the squad. He is single-handedly the reason why we're out of the title race. I could throw the attack in the midfield into it as well, but we dipped as soon as he joined the starting lineup in November. Dipped. Everything dropped off a cliff. Let's be real. There needs to be a massive clear out at Chelsea Football Club, because I think the board are serious, but they're a bit clueless in terms of their transfer. Tuchel's just there trying to plug in as many holes as he can. The attack's shit, and the midfield is just struggling. It's a load of problems with us right now.
If the Premier League didn't have money, Chelsea could be the new Barcelona with the amount of money they're wasting and wages for.
Wasting and wages and wasting on players, and also the players that we want to keep too.
Wow.
Big up Jamok, who said Chelsea fans worrying about wages. Don't you guys know it's only us that are allowed to talk about wages? That this is really weird.
I don't even know about your wage problems.
About wages.
Hey, listen, I'm with it. I'm there as well.
You know what? I must admit, I didn't think you'd be this angry, Lewis. I knew you was going to be a bit upset. I didn't think you'd be this angry.
I have been sick of this attack for the last 4 years, personally. I've been sick of Marcus Alonso for 4 years. The midfield, like, it is what it is. We've been ripped apart of injuries, and Jorginho has been overplayed the entire year. It's whatever. That one I'm not really as fussed about. But the poor recruitment, and I'm not going to say no recruitment because we have put the money into it, but it's poor recruitment and blind recruitment, and just and just also not selling the players that we need to sell. Like, this hoarding only works to a certain point. There's some players that you just need to get rid of when the time comes, and we haven't done that. And not re-signing the right players. Why are we going to give Alonso 150k a week, but we're not going to give Christensen and Rudiger ones when they'd be our centre-back pairing for the next 5 years? Doesn't make sense to me. We play too much short-term, and that's our problem. And that's why we struggle with any consistency, because we're a short-term club. We are not a long-term club. And if we're trying to be a long-term club, we're not doing it correctly.
I hear you, bro. I hear you. Well, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more rants from Lewis if this is how many problems you got, but we've got to move on.
I mean, if we don't beat Tottenham on Sunday, then boy.
Well, here we go, bro. This is what I'm saying. So before we go there, I just want to let everyone know that we'll obviously be previewing the Crystal Palace Liverpool game. So we won't talk about that today, but I will just get everyone's prediction on the score before we round up. And we're going to start with, obviously, you know what? It's not even really, as we said before, a relegation battle now. Leeds have kind of got themselves together, but it's obviously two clubs that are where they don't want to be. We got Leeds, Newcastle this weekend. KG, obviously, it's your team, bro. So I'll let you start. I just think this game's going to go out. What's your prediction, bro?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the pressure is all on Newcastle. They've got to come to Elland Road and get a win. That's on them. That you could see with Eddie Howe last week when they drew with Watford. They were expecting a win in that game. They thought that the new signings were going to give them that lift, home crowd, and they ended up drawing with a late equalizer against them. So it's on them to come to us. And for our bad form, how bad we've been, we're not that bad at home, you know, barring Liverpool. So for me, I can only see a win in this one. I think they're talking to Jesse Lingard right now, but it's too late to register for this game. I think they're going to just have to take the loss on this one. We've got a few players out. Bamford's re-injured yet again. He got over an injury, and now he's injured again with a new injury. Good news, bad news. We've got Joe Gelhardt back. Bad news, Tyler Roberts is back too. So it goes, you know, you win some, you lose some. But I just think with the last 2 games in league only, not including the cup game, the league only, we've won 2 in a row now. This would be the 3rd in a row, and I think we're going to get it against Newcastle at home. I'm always pretty confident against this Newcastle team because they are one of the teams that we should be beating in this league. So for that, I'm going to give the prediction as 3-1.
Okay, just quickly, but with the Bamford thing, is this like a career kind of injury, or is it just like, is he just having bad luck at the moment?
Well, in all fairness, Bamford, when he first got signed for us, was a bit injury prone then, but you could have put it down to getting used to Bielsa's methods because quite a few players were like that, where they were just coming down with muscle injuries from training and everything else like that. But yeah, man, I mean, listen, since he signed a new contract, it's been a bit. We've hardly seen him. He's played, 3-4 games this season, maybe 6 at a push. So, yeah, I mean, we just have to wait and see. But I do think that they are trying to withhold some of the information in terms of Bamford's injury because they know what a downer it would be if they just said, listen, we need to keep him out until April or just the rest of the season. And they know what would happen with this fan base. So I think they're just going to keep on trying to be careful because you got to remember he did come back against Brentford, scored, and then injured himself in the celebration. So yeah, it's all mad, isn't it? Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that just kind of like sums up the season too. So we'll see what happens with this one. But we've heard for like the last month that he's going to be back soon. And yet again, here's another one, and he won't be back until at least after the international break.
Okay, no, fair dues. Obviously, I wish him well. You know what I mean? I was just wondering, is it one of them ones where he could be out for the foreseeable future kind of thing? So guys, what do you lot think? I'll start with you, George. The Leeds Newcastle. What's your score prediction, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I think Leeds will win. I do think it's probably going to be like frustratingly tight, which is why I'm probably going to go for like a 2-1 Leeds win. Only because I do think at some point, like Newcastle do need to, for their own sake, turn up, and I feel like maybe it's just new signings taking time. Whatever, like you said, more is going to happen. So I think they're going to have to start turning up eventually, but I don't think they're going to win. So yeah, I just think like a 2-1 victory, a little close game.
Lewis, what do you think of that one, bro?
Leeds Newcastle.
Yeah, at Ellen Road.
Still should be a Leeds win. I think it might be a bit tight, but Newcastle have been horrific form this season. I don't really expect them to get a result against Leeds. Leeds have been in good form as well the last few weeks. I'll say 2-0 Leeds.
Cool. I'm gonna go 1-0 Leeds. I think it'll be a tight game, but Leeds will get the goal and then they'll see it out. So yeah, I'm gonna go 1-0 Leeds as well on this one. So let's get into it. after the way Lewis is feeling, I'm not sure where he's gonna go on this one. So I'm actually gonna start with Lewis on this one, and then we can set the trajectory of where this is going.
Yeah, if this was this time last year, I'd have been like, let's go round 3. I'm all here for this. Now it's like, these lot just came off an amazing turnaround against Leicester. They're going to be filled with confidence. This Chelsea team...
You've had the better of them all season, though, bro. You've had the better of them all season.
We have, but like, I see a draw in this game, if I'm being totally honest. I think Conte is going to come in with a much more revitalized Spurs side, because you look at the 2 fixtures against us, Spurs were utter clowns in the first leg, and they threw the entire tie away in the first leg. The second leg was just about consolidation, and we got handed a goal early on in that game as well, which just meant it was easy for us at that point. Just hold possession and see the game out, and that's exactly what we did. It was game management because Tottenham handed us the tie on a silver platter. Every one of the goals was a Tottenham mistake, not really anything that we did. Look, going into this game, though, it's fresh, and there's also a lot to play for as well. Like, you look at the last game, Tottenham probably already think in their heads the tie's done at that point. This one, they've got so many games in hand on us. If they get any sort of result at Stamford Bridge, it's looking really tough for us over the next few months. So I really don't know what to make of this game. I think Spurs will still struggle because they always struggle at Stamford Bridge. I think that's a mental block that they need to try and get through. But I could see Conte get a draw. Like, I want to say I could see a Chelsea win. I see that over a Tottenham win. but I have got a really bad feeling in my head that we're going to see a draw in this game, and it's another result that we simply do not need.
Are you going for a score draw or 0-0?
Score draw. I'm going to go 1-1.
1-1.
Like, you feel like we're the ones that are going to catch up too. We've got to play catch up in this game.
Okay. So George, obviously, I'm not sure how true this is. Nabur saying that the Telegraph have got you've just had a bid rejected for. I don't know. Have you heard of this, Traore, having a bid rejected, or I don't know how true if that's true or not.
Not unless it's happened like now, since we've been in the call. But
yeah, it happened. He's literally just put it up like a minute ago.
Okay, so it is legit then.
Oh
okay.
yeah, I've just seen it as well.
15 mils a bit low, isn't it? You're being a bit cheeky there. 15.
Oh, but this is why I hate those. I will go on to the Chelsea thing very quickly, but like just saying this, like I've said it to the guys in the chat before, but I do not understand when we're trying to sign someone like Traore, they want 20 mil for him. That's not that much anymore these days. That gets you barely an average player nowadays. Why are we trying to go in and haggle for 5 million difference when they've said 20 mil, you can have him. We need him soon because of injuries and whatever, and just have a better option for a right wing back, I guess. Just sign him now for 20 mil and have him ready. I don't understand why we're wasting time because they're not going to settle for anything less. I don't understand it, but it is what it is. I can see why they rejected it. On to Chelsea. I really didn't think I was going to agree with Lewis, but because it's pretty much spot on. Like I'm not stupid. As much as that result was amazing for us yesterday, and we're obviously looking like we're getting better. Kane's looking a lot better now. Chelsea away is probably our toughest fixture throughout the season, every season. Like I've seen us win there once, and that was the first time in 27 years that happened at the Bridge. So as much as we might be doing well when they're out of form, for whatever reason, we just bend over when it comes to playing Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. So I'm not expecting us to win at all. I'm obviously still going to go because if it happens again in another 27 years, I want to be there for it. So I've got to be there just in case. But no, I can see a draw as well because we drew, was it 0-0 last year under Mourinho? And that was with Joe Rodon in defence.
And we nearly gave you the win there. I remember Zuma playing a rumble in the 94th minute.
Exactly. And like Lewis said as well with the League Cup one, I think that game could have easily been a draw if Tanganga didn't decide to have the worst game of his career and decided to pretty much gift you 2 goals. You did batter us, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we deserved a draw or anything like that.
No, you gave us the goals. It is what it is.
We gave you the goals. We could have defended the whole game for it to be 0-0. Didn't happen. So I'm thinking like a similar thing could happen as well with potentially Dion Romero being back in time. That should hopefully eliminate the Tanganga mistakes if he's not playing. But we always seem to have that. We always seem to be a bit fragile or whatever and very timid when it comes to playing Chelsea. So I would say a draw as well is probably the best chance we've got, but that's still good enough for me, massively. So yeah, I'd say probably 0-0 or 1-0, sort of same as Lewis, to be honest.
I'm going to go 1-0 Chelsea. Literally for the Stamford Bridge effect. It's got nothing it's got nothing to do with Tottenham. As in, I don't think they're playing well. There's something about the Bridge that Tottenham don't like. I don't know what it is, or what the voodoo, or whatever it is, but you just don't like going there. Whether you're in form or not, Chelsea always stand for you. So I just see a real stalemate 1-0 game between you lot. KJ, how do you think this one will go, bro?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tight one. I can't separate it from a draw. So I'm going to say 2-2. I'm going to go 2-2. I think there's going to be goals in this one. I think both teams, I think Tottenham will be on a high, but I think Chelsea have got a lot to prove right now. But listen, the only thing I said, and I think I said it in the group chat, it's pretty easy to predict a draw for Chelsea these days because that's what they're doing a lot of. So, I can definitely see this one being a 2-2 draw.
Okay, but there you have it.
I'll take it all day long. If we win all 4 games in hand as well, we'll then go something like 4 points clear of them. So 5 points clear. Happy days.
Yeah,
we were in a title race 2 weeks ago.
Now you might not get Champions League. Could be us and West Ham.
This fucking club, man.
Before the Brentford game, I knew how he felt, bro. We hadn't won a game in the Premier League for about 3 weeks or 4 weeks or something like that.
We got 3 league wins in 11.
Wow. We've
For
literally
your
just
level.
given City the title. Liverpool and Chelsea have effectively just said, "Here you go, City. In January, you can already be champions." I'm
Well,
not
Chelsea tried to give him the title. They probably missed that too. So we move.
Oh man, but so there you have it, people. Obviously, give your predictions for what you think they'll be in the comments below. Oh, as well, we haven't really got the time because I'm going to wrap up now.
Fantasy Premier League. What? Someone mentioned.
We haven't
do you
got
want to know
time.
what? I haven't
Oh,
actually checked the
swear.
fantasy league this week.
I haven't looked at my FPL in a month. I can't
I
lie.
haven't. You know what? Fair is fair. I wasn't going to do it, but George, if you've got the league in front of you, let us know how did it go this week, bro?
I don't actually. I know I got 96 points.
Basically,
So
guys, we're
just
giving
out
George the title now. This is a Man City thing. George is Man
Man
City.
City. Oh, where are
Without
we?
Matt, I can't bring it up on the screen. That's why I was going to skip by it because I knew that you was
KG
doing
got
way better than
73
everyone. So.
points. I am KG is second. I'm 106 points ahead.
Yeah, Jesus. Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Good night.
Yeah, no one's pulling back 100.
What can I say? Lewis is in struggle town. 2 points. 2 points off of Aaron at the bottom though.
Oh, raw, Aaron caught up. Mad. I actually need to look at my team.
Yeah, you're gonna have to pick that one up, bro. You do not want to be wearing a Tottenham shirt at the end of the season.
I can't lie. If that's the case, we are gonna have to find another forfeit. Respectfully, I genuinely will rather jump off the top of my flat. I'll rather jump off the top of my flat. I mean that. Like, yeah.
I'm not filming you die, bro. So
I'll film it. I vlog for a living anyway, so fuck it.
We're not doing a Logan Paul out here. We don't need that sort of.
Oh boy!
And obviously, guys, we'll be back in a few hours for the game. You know what I mean? The big game against Arsenal. We've done 2 previews for that as well, and I've got a preview on FTV as well, guys. So if you want to see what we thought about that game, make sure you check them out, chop it up, and we will be back in a little while. But as always, bless up everyone. It's been a great show. I loved it, and I'm not gonna lie, that rant might have to get clipped up.
Our rant was.
It is what it is. There'll be plenty more if the team plays like trash.
Fact after fact after fact. He was just going in. He was like, I'm not holding back today, and I was not expecting that. So that was brilliant, bro. As always, guys, make sure you smash the like button. It's very helpful to the channel, the algorithm, to get the video out there. Make sure you subscribe if you're new, and go in the description now. Make sure you go over, check out KG, Lewis, and George, and make sure you subscribe to their channels as well, guys. And hit the notification so you always know when we're going live, because we had to change the time around as well. So big up everyone for jumping in early as well this week, man. So yeah, until next week, guys. Well, we will have the fantasy league will be proper next week, George. All right, it wasn't on purpose. It's just I haven't got Matt here, so he couldn't bring it up on the screen. So I was gonna try and bypass it. You know what I mean? But
I forgive
no,
you.
you've won that, bro. You're doing the Man City thing. You know you've got that in the bag already.
Maybe Everton should give me the job. I don't know. We'll see.
Why? How 9 managers in 11 years, bro? Why not? Innit? Why not?
Can't harm them.
Trashy club. But yeah, till next week, guys. We'll see you. Peace.